The theme this year is jump in.
I think jump in means like it can mean a ton of different things, like jump into an activity, jump into learning, or just jump into God.
Jump into loving God and being a good person and whatnot.
This year's theme, as you have already learned, I'm sure, is jump in. It's all about water. It said God. God is another thing that's invisible, and yet we know He's there.
They've been teaching us about water and how water has a lot of connections with God, and that we need water to survive, just like we need God to survive.
God said, "Let there be an expanse between the waters to separate water from water." So God made the expanse, and He separated the water under the expanse from the water above it. And it was so. And God called the expanse sky. And there was evening, and there was morning the second day.
Think of how important water is. And after 3 days, your body is just starving for water.
And it was about noon. When a Samaritan woman came to draw water, Jesus said to her, "Will you give me a drink?"
Jesus answered her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is that asks you for a drink, you would have asked Him, and He would have given you living water."
Brandon and you have been talking about the power of water and like what it can do for us, and like how much we need it and just how much it means to life. Well, like without water we can't live, so like it's so important to life that yeah. He smashed a phone to symbolize that like sometimes we have to like literally destroy something, or like something to like get rid of sin.
Would we be willing to cut this off? I've heard people say, if I didn't have my phone, it would be like losing my right arm. But maybe that's what it means. Struggling with something like this, maybe Jesus is saying, you know what, just throw it away. Maybe.
Does that mean it's free? No.
That was about like cutting things out of your life, and like the phone was an example, but cutting off like things like if our arm had, like for example, like he said if our arm sinned, then we would have to cut it off, but we literally can't cut off our limbs if we sin. So like things like your cell phone, if you like people talk and like gossip and stuff to other people, you could cut your phone out of your life for a little bit, or like reduce your time on your phone for a little bit. So that was one of the examples.
We had a really interesting one the other night. I think it was, what would it take for you to believe in God if you don't? And it really got me thinking, because I don't know what it would take for me. I think that's a really difficult question, and it's something I'm going to have to think about for a long time. We've talked about how Jesus is like water because He's so powerful, and we've also done this thing where it was a glass of water, and that was how God made us. He made us pure. And then we added food coloring, and that was the sin in our lives, and we kept adding more water, and it was talking about how no matter how many good things you do, it doesn't cancel out the bad things you do. But then there was this really cool trick with this like metal cross thing, and they put it in the cup and they stirred it, and all of a sudden like all the food coloring disappeared, and it was like we were talking about how that was Jesus, and like connecting with Jesus really helps you. Like your sins are still there, you've still done bad things, or but you at least have admitted to them, and you're like, you want to change so that you can do better, and you don't want to hurt anyone else, and Jesus can help you with that.
Nice.
People go through hard times. People like to go back to Psalm 23. There is a song that's kind of based on some of those words.
From the fear of being alone,